From humble beginnings, Insurance Claim HQ has grown to one of the largest property casualty firms in the country. We didn't do it alone, and you shouldn't either. Every week, we're talking to claims professionals and top experts from all over, all to help you grow your business and make you stronger. Let's level up together. I'm Galen Hair. Welcome to the Level Up Claims Podcast. Welcome back to the Level Up Claims Podcast. Today's episode is another special session recorded live at the Level Up Claims Summit. I'm joined by Jack Hanks, founder of VPA Public Claims Adjusting, for a candid conversation about the challenges facing our industry, from anti-policyholder legislation and tougher claims to professionalism, private equity, and where public adjusting is headed next. This is not a fun episode, but it's an important one. Let's jump in.
This is my fourth time talking here. I appreciate it. Once again, thanks for putting this on.
Thanks for coming.
Good stuff, man. It's important what we're doing because I was asked to come talk. I really know what I want to talk about, but things are going so crazy right now in this industry. I thought it was important. We kind of did like a little bit of a town hall talk and just kind of give some perspective. You're getting old when you do the fireside chat, right? So I think I was voted in because I'm the oldest one here. It's been nuts. So let me ask you guys this. Are your claims getting harder and harder and harder? We're seeing it. You're seeing it, right?
We're seeing it lit too. I mean, look, it used to be really simple. It used to be take the standard 4 depositions, unless the case was weird, take a couple of others, and everyone sat down and kind of got it resolved. And it's just not like that now.
So when I started back in the 90s, we would actually meet the adjuster on site with his truck. We would agree on the scope, and he'd go write a check out of the truck and hand me the check. Yeah, it was great. And then we ruined that because we all got greedy and dumb, right? And I think that's happening again. So you guys been paying attention to all this stuff. The legislation, so Galen's part of our nonprofit. He co-founded with me, and every week he constructed this thing. This email comes to us and all the legislation stuff going on in the country. And the first time I got this email, I about fell off my chair because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of legislation getting proposed every month throughout the country. And 90% of that is against us.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually flagged, right? It was like policyholder friendly, anti-policyholder, and it had red, yellow, and green. And the first report was scary because after that, the reports are just new legislation, right? But the first report was here is everything pending around the country that could hurt you. And I was like, I don't have time to read this week even,
Do y'all know what happened in Kentucky? Everybody?
Yeah, tell them.
So I was on the golf course about 4 months ago, ironically, playing golf. And my phone was going absolutely apeshit. This is like a Saturday morning. And I'm getting texts and calls because we have an office in Lexington. And they're like, hey, Kentucky, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? So this bill popped up at 10:30 one night, funded by Farm Bureau of Kentucky. And it was brought in. So there's a state senator in Kentucky that's actually a State Farm agent as well. They got ticked off at our industry and brought some legislation up to basically get rid of public adjusting, much like Alabama and Arkansas. Nobody knew about it. It came out of the clear blue sky. Our industry didn't pay any attention, and we got blindsided. We did a podcast on it. We put a bunch of money. We actually hired we have a lawsuit going against the state of Kentucky now. Good luck, right? To sue them. But basically what it was is they took out they put a moratorium on adjusting licenses. There's only 36 in-state resident public adjusters in Kentucky. So I think you may agree or disagree. I think what happened is the insurance company is like, let's find the next low-hanging fruit that nobody pays attention to, and let's see what we can do to screw these guys.
Yeah, and they picked the state that they think is the weakest. And I remember, look, I just call people out. You don't have to. I remember Steve Badger said this. He got mad at someone. It was either Matt or it was Ben Brown.
It's probably Matt.
It was it you, Matt?
Maybe.
I think it was you. You really crossed the line because you made a cohesive argument about how something a carrier was doing wasn't fair, and that was unacceptable. And his eyes. And he actually wrote back, sometimes it makes me wonder why we even allow you guys, whether we should even allow you guys to exist, I think was the quote. And yeah, he said that to you, didn't he? And we all kind of thought, man, that's crazy. Like
That's
he's
harsh.
coming across as insane, except then I think if you go to the next slide, it happened.
Hello.
The carriers, and they pick one state for a reason, because then it kind of goes to the next state and the next state, the next state.
So basically in Kentucky, there's a moratorium on licensing. So no more licenses are going to be issued for 2 years. So the 36 licensees are it. Secondly, there's a fee cap of 10%, which fine. Thirdly, however, they took away our right to negotiate a claim. So basically, we're estimators. We can submit it, and then that's it. And there's no meat on the bone. We really aren't authorized to do anything anymore in Kentucky. So my theory is that they picked this stupid little state in the middle of the country that nobody paid attention to, and like let's go after these guys, and they did, and it passed 86-1 in the Senate, and it was voted on 11 o'clock at night, and we had a lobbyist there who, it was last minute stuff, and your lobbies is only as good as your checkbook, right? And the insurance company's lobbyists probably got a few million. Ours got like $100,000. So guess what happened? We got our asses kicked in.
Yeah, and real quick, just because I think it's relevant, because we're going to talk about some legislation, and Jonathan Davis later is going to talk about some other legislation. We try to get cute, and we're like, well, I'm not worried about that bill because I'll just come up with a way around it. I keep picking on Matt because the hat's right in front of me. I love it. But maybe Matt's a Kentucky PA, and he's like, I don't care about that bill. Okay, cool. I'll just hire 10 people to do estimates, and now I know that I'm one of 36 in the state, and I can own the state of Kentucky. But the bill actually thought about that ahead of time and said, yeah, so anything a PA is allowed to do has to be done by a licensee and a licensee only. So they also ensured that the existing PA firms in Kentucky would never get any bigger.
Method behind the madness, right? And it's I think a lot of this is our fault as an industry, not all of it. I think we have some culpability as an industry because I don't think we train well. I don't think we educate well. I think the bar of getting in our industry is too low. I think it's way too easy to get a license. Ironically, I probably should have been a PA when I got my PA license. I was coming out of a horrible divorce. I was a shitty general contractor. And I'm like, this looks like a cool career. I'm just going to do this, right? And I think that's the problem with the industry. There's not a lot of professionalism on the PA side. And I think that's hurting us because there's a lot of pretend, there's a lot of actors, there's a lot of bad players in it. And we're actually creating our own dynamic. And then we fall into that narrative from the carrier is every time you see something on LinkedIn about a PA stealing money, we're all bad apples at that point, right? And I don't think we do a great job as an industry is promoting the good that we do because there's a lot of great people in this industry, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, some of the best people I know, honestly.
A lot. These slides are depressing.
Yeah, I mean, you made them, not me. This is all you, sir. Yeah, they are depressing, but they're also depressing if you look at them in isolation. Every year there's bad legislation. It's just this year it feels like the legislation got away from us because no one was paying attention. And I suspect no one was paying attention because people weren't quite as profitable as they've been, and the last thing they want to do is jump in. But I'd suggest that those are the years that it's more important, you know?
Yeah, because they know we're not paying attention, right? Do you think how much of this is our fault, Galen? We've
I
never
mean,
really talked about this.
I don't think you can quantify it. And I think that's one of the areas you and I disagree. I think bad actors create bad law. Same thing. It's why I gladly throw MMA under the bus any chance I get because they really screwed the state of Louisiana. But on this flip side, I don't. If anything, I think it speeds up. I think it speeds up what happens. I don't think it changes what happens. I don't think any of these here right now are things that the carriers didn't want to do anyway. I think they wanted to do these anyway. I think they were looking for an excuse to do them, and I think we gave them the excuse to do it now. So I think that's the difference. I think our industry has given them the excuse to do it earlier than they would have been able to do it otherwise. Like a PA stealing leads to an anti-PA endorsement. But don't think for a second that that wasn't on the carrier's wish list 10 years ago, right? Um, but now the timing comes out that way. Same thing with rolling back bad faith. Bad plaintiff law firms that steal from people and go illegally sign people are going to create the media buzz that these legislators need to have cover, because at the end of the day, they care more about getting reelected
Yeah.
than anything else.
One thing I didn't realize when I was a younger PA, like 20 billion years ago, I didn't know how politically um, charged this insurance stuff is, the claims. I mean, anymore, guys, it's not. I mean, this may sound pretty odd, but the policy doesn't have much to do with it anymore. It really doesn't, man. It's about the political climate. It's about the state statutes. It's about proper law statements. So a lot of what we do anymore it's illogical, right? You could have the best policy in the world with damage that's right there, and they still get denied. We get that every day, and I think it's because the laws are changing and the carriers are getting away with it, and we don't do a great job of promoting the fight. Besides couple stupid Facebook posts every now and then. I think we need to find a way to get more vocal about it and more, because at the end of the day, like in Florida, people's rates have tripled for less coverage. So you're buying less coverage for more money. It's horrible. Like people are moving out of that state like crazy. So, it's horrible. I'm not. I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer in this industry, man. But this industry is, you younger guys and girls in the audience, man. This industry is phenomenally amazing. It's given me friendships throughout the country for years to come. I mean forever, and it's been profitable if you let it be. But you got to run a really good business, and I think we fail at that as well. I don't think we teach people how to run a business. There's a lot of great attorneys that are horrible businessmen. A lot of great PAs that are horrible business people. And I think what happens is we don't spend enough time talking about the business of adjusting, or the business of being an attorney, or the business part of what we do. And I think that's a huge failure.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And, you know, I am happy that we do cover some business stuff here. I think it's important, but there is no like centralized place where our industry can go to figure out how to operate the business side of things better. What there is a lot of snake oil salesmen that say, "Give me a bunch of money and I'll come consult for you." I literally saw one of them just post a flyer yesterday after melting down on Facebook publicly. But it was the weirdest time to launch a consulting business. But anyway, but that's really, and I'm kind of making fun of him. Um, and half of you don't know who I'm talking about, and that's fine. But it really is more indicative of where our industry is at right now, right? Someone spirals out on Facebook for 3 days, posting all their stuff, their personal relationship, romantic stuff about their girlfriend that they think cheated on them, and posts videos and, does all that. And then and then within hours posts a flyer made by AI. Hey, hire me to come consult with your business. Like, I'm not even really making fun of him, but I'm saying this is actually not that crazy a story in this industry. That would be a crazy story anywhere else, and we only think it's funny because of who it was. Like, we're not even surprised that it happened. That's the craziest part.
And the ironic part, I guarantee you, people will go to that and hire people like that now.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get business, and that's fine, but that's not a centralized, safe place to learn how to run a better business.
No.
That is giving someone money for the sake of giving someone money.
So how do we? I mean, you guys, we're looking for ideas too. Like, don't. I mean, we're trying to find a solution for all this stuff too, because it's difficult, man. And like, I'm not worrying about me. I'm worrying about Jason and the kids that work for me and my staff that are a bunch. Like, I'm out in 4 years, by the way, guys. I'm out. Good luck. I'm done. I can hardly wait.
That's actually one of the PE things,
Yes.
is you get
We
a
can talk about. You want
negotiated
to talk about that a
exit.
little
Yeah,
bit?
let's talk about it. You get a negotiated exit. It's the most attractive, best part about PE actually, is
Oh
that
my God.
when you do the deal, you know when you are retiring. It is done. It
Greatest
is
thing in the world.
in the can. And by far was the most attractive part about the offers I fielded, was knowing that I would be done by a certain date.
Yeah. So we had 1,000,000 offers. I mean, you guys know I sold 40% of our company to private equity back in November. It's been great and it's been miserable at the same time. I'm not going to kid you. I wrote a number down when this whole thing started. I'm like, I'm not going below this number, and they came in above the number, so we had to pretend for 2 months we were offended. Like, oh. But the due diligence went through, and we got it done. And let me tell you why I did it. I turned 60 years old this year. I don't look it, right?
No, not a day
I
over
turned 60.
72.
And we had a hell of a good time at Wrigley Field, right? So I turned 60. So part of my personal motivation was, what the hell am I going to do? Like, your business is the problem about public adjusting is your business is you, right? And there's not a lot of, I don't have a barn full of widgets that we built. I don't have materials and products to sell. I have honestly this and a lot of good employees, right? And there was a time that I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to do this. The number came back, and I'm like, oh my God, like what? So we made a deal and we took it. And reason being is my age, and I want to take I reduce my risk because our stuff on paper looks amazing. However, as my team can tell you, we'll have a claim that got smashed by a hurricane, category 5, and it's blown to hell, and we're still going to get denied. So there's zero guarantees that piece of paper is worth anything.
Yeah.
Anything. So we thought through it. I made a business decision for my family, and I wanted an exit plan that I didn't need to worry about my retirement, my kids, my grandkids, my staff got well taken care of, and that's why I did it because, and in part, second part to that, I was worried that not to be whatever, but we run a pretty good business, thank God. I have partners that are smarter than me that run the business part of it because I'm horrible at it. But I realized I was horrible at it, and I brought people in to run my business. Um, I was afraid that if we didn't one of the first ones in, that somebody else in this stupid industry was going to blow it, and P was going to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that PE hasn't walked away yet with some of the deals they did tells me that they're never gonna walk away, but I hear you.
That's why we did it, and I'm glad we did it. It's been challenging. It's been difficult. The good news is they know nothing about our business, but the bad news is they know nothing about our business. So you're educating the PE firm along the time along with it, and they're bottom line guys, man. It's about that. It's about that number, about the return on investment. So now we have a whole other department. All we're doing for mergers, acquisitions, and learning about. If I hear the word EBITDA one more time, I am going to jump off this
I
building.
can't even spell it. But no, it's interesting because you also gotta keep in mind the PE's betting for you and against you at the same time because they're also investing on the other side. It's really could they call that diversification, like everyone else calls that conflict. And it's really interesting to watch happen in real time.
So it has been good for our firm in a couple of ways. We have a huge claim in Ohio. Jason's the adjuster on. It's $50 million claim. The engineer wanted $400,000 for engineer fee. A couple of years ago, I'd been like, "Holy shit!" Right? You know what I did? I wrote him a check, and we're gonna go and we have a walkthrough on the 23rd, and the carrier's like, "Oh, this is wow!" So we're able to do things now financially that I couldn't have done a few years ago because that cash flow as an adjusting firm and a law firm, I'm sure, is horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
It flows. It just usually flows out.
Yeah,
That's
it goes that way. So we're able to do stuff like that now I'm able to compete with the carriers toe to toe, and we all know our experts on this side of the fence are much better than their experts. And I'm able to bring the best and the brightest around me consistently and not worry about the cost. And I pay that fee up front on behalf of my client. They're not paying that. I get it back at the end, however. But I think that was a huge benefit for us as a firm. No offense, we only have a handful of stuff going to law firms anyway, and that number's even shrunk since the PE stuff because now we have more bullets in the gun to shoot back at these carriers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get referrals from public adjusting firms. I'm not complaining about that, where they're like, "Look, we need an engineer. We can't
Yeah.
afford one. Can we refer it to you so someone will pay for an engineer?"
And I
And
guarantee that's 90% of the time, an adjusting firm, and it's expensive. I mean, overhead's a lot, right? And we could barely afford to do engineering before that because
but then PE's hilarious, right? Because then PE bets against that too. And they say, "Well, that's interesting. So things are going to law firms because they can't afford it, and some PA firms are never going to sell to us. So what we'll do is we'll go jump into the factoring game."
yeah,
And, again, factoring is a great idea. Are y'all generally familiar with the concept of factoring? It is just buying invoices. I became familiar with factoring because I represented a company many, many, many years ago that did cable installation for the big cable utility. So they would go, if you called your cable utility company to get cable installed, this company would actually show up and install your cable box and run your cable lines, right? Problem is the utility took 90 days to pay. This company needed to pay their people right away because people don't like not getting paid for 90 days, it turns out, and they stop showing up to work after a certain point. So they then had to go find another company that would buy their invoices at a reduced cost, which would get them cash flow immediately. Factoring is very good. It's very important, but it entered our industry and it took on kind of a different life.
Yeah.
So, that's where you had the claim pay situation pop up. What happened is people were being encouraged to up the amount of their invoices so they could still take home what they wanted to as if their invoice had been paid in full. And then it got used to generate cases too. It basically got said, hey, why don't you guys go just convince people to file claims, whether they have claims or not? Then you can do the estimate. Then we'll buy the estimate at, half of your invoice. And then we will send it to a law firm who we will then take a piece of that fee as well because we're invested there. And next thing you know, the whole claim running like model is running on a flywheel and like you just can't stop it. And everyone thought they stopped it because MMA shut down. And guess what? MMA is not shut for any of you that don't know that. They just changed their name. So it's still happening. Very much still happening.
Yeah. So it's, and the funny part is private equity. I mean, that's what insurance companies are, right? They're basically private equity. They buy land, real estate. They have co-insurance. They reinvest. So we're trying to compete with that. And the good news, all of this too, I feel, is in a couple years, once we get figured out how to actually build the private equity, because we're still in a learning curve on all this stuff. And eventually the goal is too, we're going to start investing into lobbying, and because private equity wants to make money, right? Like we all do, but they want to make a lot of money. So the idea is eventually down the road, hope in the next couple years, is we're going to start investing in lobbyists. We're going to start doing stuff like the carriers do, and going after these things because the laws and statutes are driving this industry, and it's driving us into the ground. And if we don't stand up very quickly, so I do have this dawns on me. Do you think public adjusting, if things stay the way they are, is going to be a thing in 5 years? Or are we all going to work for you?
I
Honestly.
think no one's gonna look me in. I might kick that BE view. But
Well, by
but
matching islands.
yeah, yeah, I wish. No, I think public adjusting will be a thing, but I think it's being commoditized now instead of professionalized. And that's a problem. It is a profession. It should be treated like a profession.
Agree.
That's both internally, we should treat it like a profession, but also externally, the laws should treat it like a profession. That means there should be conduct rules and they should be high conduct rules. But also, you guys should be able to do whatever you need to freaking do to help a policyholder. And you shouldn't have your hands tied as long as you're not breaking the law. Right. So there shouldn't be all these micromanaged rules of you can't negotiate with the claim. Like it works both ways. You guys need to give in terms of the ethical conduct you have to follow, but you also should be getting in terms of the free reign you're given to make the decisions you need to make to protect your customers. Period.
And this is why Nappia hates me, is I hate fee caps. I hate them. It's literally nobody's business what I charge, what my business charges for a fee. I don't think it's anybody's business. If George Keys is worth 30%, I'm only worth 20, and they want to hire George for 30, God bless them. You've earned that. Same thing here. If we're worth more than whoever, we should charge whatever the hell we want. And I don't know any other professions. When I go to a car wash, they have a thing, and it's this much. I don't get to like. The government's not capping them. It drives me insane how we let that in our world. You guys don't have that, do you?
We do and we don't. In most states, there's no law that says what we can charge, but we do have ethical rules that say we have to charge a reasonable fee, and then the courts have interpreted that.
Okay.
So, like for instance, I would never get away with charging 50%. I've gotten some calls from potential clients that I don't think I'd take their case if I couldn't charge 90% because they're so difficult.
Well,
But
Noah's okay, right?
but no, at the end of the day, that's why you see that if you notice, law firms are charging pretty consistent fees across the board. There's not a lot of variation. And the reason is because ethically they're governed. I will say in our industry, law firms charge less than they charge in any other industry. 10% pre-suit is unheard of. It's 35% in bodily injury all day across the country. Period.
What did it drop to 10?
It dropped to 10
To
because
put
of you
PAs out of
guys.
business?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So what happened is it dropped to 10% to put PAs out of business. John Hotelling, I think, was one of the first ones that
Yeah,
did
I
it.
remember that actually.
And then we all followed suit. So, I can't say the goal was to put you guys out of business, but I couldn't charge twice what my competitors charge, right? So what happened is lawyers started to get referrals from PAs. And by the way, PAs mandated it. The first claim I ever worked, 15 years ago, a PA brought into my office and said, "I'm only referring this to you if you agree to charge 10% pre-suit." And he then referred me 200 claims over the next year. And that is how I learned to work insurance claims on the plaintiff side, was by charging 10%. But then as soon as he was gone, I started charging 30%, because why not?
Yeah.
And then when I got into the storm side of the industry, hoteling was charging 10%, so I had to drop my fee again.
Market. But thing is, the market adjusted that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's Texas 10%, Florida it's 10, and within what, a year or two after the hurricane you go to 20, right? But so the problem is these fee caps are killing. They're not killing the big commercial claims. They're killing the $30,000 Mrs. Smith claim in Middle Mississippi, because at 10%, I'm going to lose money. By the time I go out there, estimate it, negotiate it, submit it, we're in the hole, and that's what that's designed for. However, and then people say, well, if you take 30%, she's not going to be able to get a roof done. And my theory is keeping 70% of 30,000 is better than 0 of 0, right? I don't know. I just have a huge problem with fee caps, and I'm adamantly against them, and I don't like them. And I think it's nobody's damn business what I charge.
Some of this stuff. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's the question. Is it constitutional? And,
Is
but
it?
well, I mean, I don't know.
You're a lawyer. Come on.
Everything's constitutional when you're regulating lawyers. But no, I mean, there is broad authority to regulate certain professions. And that's the problem, is that authority is delegated because you're a profession, but then we don't treat you like a profession. And in some ways, this industry is to blame, but in other ways, they're not. The carriers are to blame, and we've got to get that under control.
So I'm going to give you a magic wand, Galen. And you are the insurance god of the country, and you could wave your wand. What the hell? I mean, so guys, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. I hate to say that shit and start the day out like that, but it's going south, and it ain't great, and it's getting harder and harder. If we don't stand up very quickly and start taking care of our own house, it's gonna be a problem. Okay, how would I give you $1 bazillion? Right? We have untapped funds. How do we fix this?
Yeah, honestly, a lot like the bill that George and Earl and Robin pushed, a lot like what the version of it pushed right before, right before the plaintiff bar, thank you, colleagues, killed it, and right before a couple of PAs tried to kill it. They had proposed a bill originally to allow a percentage. They did offer a fee cap because, frankly, it was a negotiation piece. Get a fee cap to get it done. I think obviously if they could choose to not have a fee cap, they would have.
You got to give a little, get a little.
But what was really interesting, and I know this, I was at the meeting, they were told, hey, we'll consider this, but we need you guys to follow rules and codes of ethics, and we need you to. And I think they thought they were going to kill their desire to pursue the bill when they said that out loud. And it was the funniest thing, because, and it wasn't just George, Earl, and Robin, they're just the ones here. They just kind of looked around the room and said, yeah, that's fine. And you could hear the shock, like, in the room, because the legislator thought, oh, I thought I was going to get these guys to walk away by telling them they were going to have to follow rules. They're like, no, we don't want the bad actors in the industry. We want everyone to behave. If you're going to agree to pass legislation that's going to make them behave, we're on board. And that's what I think it should look like in every state. I think you guys should have ethical rules to follow, similar to the rules that lawyers have to follow, including confidentiality and stuff, by the way. But I think you should be able to charge a reasonable fee. And I think you should be able to actually do the things you need to do. The only thing I think you shouldn't be allowed to do is go sign a pleading in court and appear in court and advocate for someone, or do those related things like take depositions.
Nor do we want to. We don't want the. I don't want to have to pay the tuition to go to law school.
Honestly, in a perfect world, it would be how it used to be back. And now I'm just trying to sound old, I guess, but it would be how it used to be back in 2011, 2012, which is you guys would do everything you possibly could do to get the claim bought. And then you would bring it to me ready to file a lawsuit. And I would file the lawsuit, and then I would do the things I needed to do. And everyone would go home happy, and the client would hate all of us because we all got paid.
And that's how the system is designed to be.
But the client would be able to rebuild their home. And that was the takeaway. But that's how the system should be. And it used to be that way. It's never technically been that way in Louisiana, but even then, they used to charge a percentage and just say they weren't. But that's how it should be.
Yeah. So there's how many PAs in here? Most of you guys, right? Does anybody have any problem having ethical and morals and rules to live by, and standards? Yeah. It's what's mind-boggling. Some of these guys are fighting this stuff, and I'm like, don't we want to be the best of the best of the best of the best? That's the idea, right? And it ain't hard to be. I mean, George, how long you been doing this?
48 years.
It ain't hard to be good, right? You just, well, yeah. But the idea, if you wake up every morning and you're like, guys, doing the right thing is hard. I'm not going to kid you, man. There's cash flow constraints. We all have family obligations. However, it's just too easy for some of these people coming in this industry to do dumb stuff, and then they get away. I mean, TDI in Texas, they've had the stuff I've seen. People are still they're still on Facebook working. The stuff that's gone down, it's mind-boggling. So I really think we need to do a better job as an industry is um, raising up our own. And then when somebody does something dumb, man, we gotta bang them in the head a little bit. We gotta do something on our own to regulate this stuff. And I really don't think the carrier is going to take us seriously till we get our own acts together first. And I understand. I get the thing about IAs, and I get the thing about not licensed adjusters on State Farm and Ladder Now. I get all that stuff. I tell my guys, don't worry about it. Worry about your own. You do your job, and we're going to outperform them, right? That's how we're successful. We outperform them. But the problem is we get so hell-bent on what the carrier's doing. And guys, keep in mind, these are trillion-dollar organizations. They can do everything they can to make us every nickel they can. That's
let
how
us
it
deal
is.
with that in the lawsuit. You guys get these people paid.
Yes. Yes. Man.
You guys get these people paid so they can rebuild. We'll deal with the licensing issues.
Yeah. So if I can give any advice to the younger guys and younger PAs in this audience is, man, just wake up and want to do the right thing. Ask questions. Find mentors. Find people that give a damn. Galen, George, myself. There's a lot of smart old people in this industry that want to give back. Oh, George, I know you're older than me, bro. So, but it's important, man. And we never had that.
But see, George has George Key's money, so he actually reverse ages.
Is that true? Because when we started, man, I wish I could go back the first couple of years, because I guarantee you there's probably 500 clients I really could do a much better job on now. And that's because I didn't know I got a business card. I started running around doing stuff. And I'm like, oh, it became a real business. So I can't believe we're out of time already.
Yeah, I know. Time flies. King depressal.
So guys, yeah. However, the good news is it's a beautiful industry. There's amazing people in this thing. Grab people. The people who are in this room want to talk and want to communicate and help. That's why we're all here, right? So find mentors. Don't go on Facebook to ask questions, please, because you're going to get the wrong answer. Find people you trust, and you can ask. Don't be afraid to ask anything. Anything. Because there's a reason you don't know.
But make relationships with people here. Talk to them here. Talk to them after. Talk to them for years after. Don't do it on Facebook. Like, I have no idea why I'm fighting with someone on Facebook right now about what his BAs could be appraisers, but whatever.
It's so hard not to say stuff, isn't it?
But look, we are wrapping up, so I want to say this because I think it's important. This kind of was a sad session. Don't let it be sad. We're going to tie a lot of these things back together. Yeah, we kind of did all that.
I didn't have any of the slides. Anyway.
We let them see your pretty slides. But we are tying everything back together. And we will talk about more of this today, and we'll talk about solutions to some of this. So it wasn't all whoa, okay?
Guys, there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of great people. Just engage in this business and just when it's the hardest, that's when you really are going to shine. Trust me, man. And you guys do like the stuff I see that we're doing as industry, we're changing people's lives. We're saving them from disaster and financial crisis of what we do. And that's a beautiful thing, man. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Galen, thank you for everything you've done for all of us.
Oh, thank you, Jack.
Love you, man. Really do. All right.
I want to give a huge thank you to Jack Hanks for sharing not only his experience, but his perspective on where our industry is headed. Whether you agreed with every point or not, one thing is clear. The property claims industry is changing rapidly, and standing still is not an option. Moving forward, success won't come from doing business the way you've always done it. It will come from building stronger businesses, raising professional standards, investing in education, and working together to protect policyholders and the future of our profession. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Level Up Claims podcast. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date on our latest podcast.